On. We're good?
Yes.
All right. Welcome to what's the date? December 18th, 2023 board meeting. The first item is to approve the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. The next thing is to approve the minutes from the November 27th, 2023 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right, board members, we have the privilege, I think, and I would say the honor to have one of Vestavia's finest, if not the finest citizen, legislator extraordinary with us tonight. Jebo Wagner is joining us. Senator Wagner is, could tell you his history about Vestavia, but he's been here a long time. And he's loved Vestavia a long time, and he, by virtue, has loved our schools a long time. And I will have to tell you that in my 11 years as superintendent, I cannot be more thankful for the relationship that I have with our legislator, who genuinely cares about the best for our kids in our schools. His kids grew up here, gone through school here, got grandkids now, and got great-grandchildren that will one day be rebels as well. So, But I asked Senator Wagner to join us just to express appreciation on behalf of our board and schools for the work that's been happening this past year by our legislature. And so during the summer, when the legislature passed the budget, there were a few pieces in it that I think are noteworthy. The first is there were some discretionary dollars that the legislature had because it went above the amount the state could budget for education. And they allocated grants for safety and security improvements to school systems. And we were fortunate to receive a $387,000 grant for security improvements. And we are putting that in motion this year through some different things we're doing to enhance some of the infrastructure of our schools to make it a safer, more secure place. We're putting that to good use. In addition to that, while not in the education budget, the legislature is able to provide a certain amount of dollars for legislators to allocate for projects that are important in the community and schools. And Senator Wagner has done that as well this year, very generously provided dollars to us that are going to be used for programming that includes athletics and particularly in academics and largely around our STEM programming. And that is something that you'll see come to fruition more next year. So in addition to that, the legislature also created a fund for the lieutenant governor to create grants for schools for capital needs. And the idea of that was to try to allocate this designated amount of money to whatever the high need areas were. And we had, as you know, developed a concept for energy management strategies that we think would make our school healthier and safer places. And so we applied for that, and we had the recommendation and reference of Senator Wagner to get that done. And we were awarded just right over $3 million for that project. We'll talk a little bit more about it in just a few minutes, but that was a major step for us given the larger plan of things that we have that we need to do facility-wise. So, and one of the things that I just think is one of the more meaningful things, and it's a smaller amount of money than $10 million, but our band is traveling to Rome in just a couple of weeks. It's a trip that you approved some months ago. And it's expensive to travel to Rome. And it takes about $15,000 or so just to put the instruments on the plane and get them over there. And so because of Senator Wagner's work behind the scenes, and he secured some additional dollars for us through, I think, the tourism department, provided that for our band to be able to carry those instruments over. Just the little things that go so far in making a big difference to show how much he cares about the school. So I'm just really thankful, and on behalf of our school system, wanted to express appreciation to you, Senator Wagner.
Thank you.
Yeah, come on up. Any words you want to offer before we brag some more about you?
I probably need to be thanking y'all instead of y'all thanking me for what you've done for my 4 kids. had one that finished in 71, 73, 75, 91. Jay, when did y'all finish? 91, my youngest son, Jay. They all got great educations right here at Vestavia. They've all been successful. Mark's an attorney, Jay's in technology, and Lynn she retired, I think.
Kind of.
I think Jay knows more about my family than I do. But anyhow, thank y'all for what you do. Everybody in Montgomery knows about the Vestavia Hills Board of Education. If they don't know, I tell them, okay? And they all know what we're about up here. Probably the best education in Alabama. All four of my kids got great Vestavia Hills education. And I'm so proud of that. My family's proud of it. And just something you never forget, Tony.
Yeah.
So, of course, you weren't here, but the tradition continues, okay? So thank you.
Lots of alumni up here too that have benefited. So any
Oh,
words? I know, go ahead, Jay.
I could go on and on, but I'm gonna try and be brief. But I think Todd hit on something that Jabo has done that we don't even know. There's so much behind the scenes, and so many kids, so many teachers, coaches, lives that he has impacted behind the scenes. And just one thing comes to mind is resolutions. And I mean, he's the longest serving senator. He was recognized on the Senate floor earlier this year. And just his accolades go on and on. But I would submit, and I know you've done it for my family and just so many others on just something so simple. But you go to the legislature, and he was always, and to this day, he's probably done, probably hundreds this year, I don't know, but he would prepare resolutions into whatever achievement is being made by a certain student, certain teacher, certain coach, and there would always be presentations. And it just, the impact that makes just for that one moment in time where a certain person is recognized, but years later, when you see that resolution proclamation on the wall that behind the scenes, he's gone to the governor to sign or gone to the Senate floor to get executed, it just means so much to people. And that's just one of just thousands of things he's done for our community. I mean, going back to bringing the vice president here to campaign for him a long time ago. And that was such a big deal and such an exciting time for our community. Just so many other things. And it's just, he is the ultimate blessing. And to be able to call him our senator, but our friend is something that our community is always going to be grateful for. So we love you, Jabo.
You too, Jay.
I'll throw my 2 cents of watching Mr. Wagner for years. As I recall, he was very influential in the mid-'80s when we had a roast that was benefiting the math team and the debate team, and ways of raising money that were outside of just, I guess, was creative ways of finding revenue, which obviously is very important to us now, but also his dedication across the board. You can't say that, as we as a board have said, we want excellence in everything we do. And Mr. Wagner's been supportive of that excellence across the board, whether it was, as Jay mentioned, resolutions when the math team first won the national title, supporting the math and debate teams to raising money, to athletics and academics. It was never just a niche thing that he was most interested in or that benefited his kids the most. It was what was best for our school system to achieve excellence across the board. And I think that it's fair to say that our board over the course of generations has taken that lesson to heart and said, we don't want to be great in just one area. We want to be great in every area that we are involved in. So thank you.
Thank you.
I will say, someone that's so prominent, that's so relatable to everyone in our community, I just think is such a gift, how you are so present at everything. I love, like, you're at the football games, you're at luncheons, in and out of the schools, and not just supporting the schools, but the city as well. And you're just a friend to everyone. And you've really, I know for my own family, you've been a blessing, but you've just really made an eternal impact in the community. We're just so grateful for you. And Miss Marilyn, don't leave her out. She lets you still do this, right?
That's right.
And every good man's a wonderful, supportive woman. We love you. Thank you for everything.
One of my fondest memories, if I can reminisce a little bit, I moved up here on Mission Road in 1968. I think the school system started in what, 70?
That's right. Yes, sir.
I think when I was speaking to
April
the
1970. That's right.
Chamber of Commerce the other day, I said it was 80, but I knew immediately I'd made a mistake. But it started in 70, and of course they built the stadium shortly thereafter and built a press box. It was about a fourth the size of this room, the first press box. So a bunch of us daddies of athletes said, we can do better than this. It was a one-room press box. And one of them happened to be a plumber. And we had built a new press box. And he put plumbing into the press box, which was, wow, we got plumbing up in the press box. So, but that was fun. And I think we've had probably 2 press boxes since then, and now we've got one that compares with anybody. That's just one fond memory that I spent so many hours. I was president of the booster club for a couple of terms, I think, and athletics at Vestavia High School. Well, at the Civic Center, you remember that, Civic Center, and then the high school, I spent so many hours at that high school, basketball, football, baseball. So just memories you cherish all your life. And the beat goes on, thanks to y'all.
Well, in the spirit of the season, I mean, when I say you're a gift, that's an understatement.
Thanks,
So I
y'all.
appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, board members. I provided the November 2023 financial statements and check register for your review. As of November 30th, 2023, we have collected 12.8% of our budgeted ad valorem tax revenues compared to the less than 2% that we had received last year. This large increase is in part due to the fact that we received our $1.3 million allocation of the Jefferson County 1 cent sales tax in November this year, compared to receiving it in December of last year. But we're still up about $4.3 million from this time last year. Some of it is due to timing differences of when we received tax revenues between November and December of last year. So next month's financials will be a better comparison of how much of an increase we actually do have year to date. But due to this increase, we have not had to draw on our line of credit so far. In November, we earned $43,676 in interest income on our investment and treasury sweep agreement. And our total expenditures and transfers out of the general fund as of November 30th were 17.4% of the budget compared to 16.7% last year. In the second month of our fiscal year, with all things being equal, we should be at 16.67% of our budgeted expenditures. So we are a little above that due to payments for some annual expenditures and an early lease payoff. Monthly financial statements and check registers are available for viewing on our website upon board approval, and all bank accounts have been reconciled as of November 30, 2023.
Thanks, Courtney. A couple of points just to reinforce on that is we're not having to draw on credit line. We've had to do that the last 3 years, I believe. And so that's a better position for us financially. And one point I do want to add, emphasis to is the 16.6% of expenditures through 2 months, 16.6% of the overall budget. The places where I think are most important to note are in the way of instructional and support services, salaries and benefits. Those are right on the numbers. And that's a really good, 'cause that's our largest expenditure in our people. And so when those are hitting really right on the numbers to start, that gives you a good indication that courts hit the budget right. I feel like on the expenditure side. So I'm really appreciative of the work, and I'm glad to see the direction we're going in. Really good work, Courtney. Thanks. Board members, I recommend approval of financial statement for November 23.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve the financial statement for November 2023. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
are there any questions or discussion on this? All in favor?
Item 6 is consent items, and these are for field trips that are overnight. One's a retroactive flag football. That one happened fast on us, but our ladies performed in that last week. And then there's one for robotics at the high school, math teams at Gazette's in Liberty Park, and then Liberty Park Band for a spring trip. So I recommend the board approve these consent items.
Heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve the following consent items for in-state overnight and out-of-state overnight trips. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
any discussions?
I just want to say the flag football game, just having our community be able to go down there for that event. It's just really cool. I got there at the very end. Sorry, I was running late, but just to see it and the excitement of everyone, it's really special. And I don't know how many more times teams are even going to be allowed to go to Bryant-Denny, but to see Vestavia Hills up on that scoreboard, and just the experience that our school got to have, not necessarily through the boys, but through the girls, was really cool. And that was money well spent right there.
Yeah, our ladies represented us very well. They were runners up in the state and only a few years in existence. It was a fantastic year, actually just their first loss, I believe. And that complements a state championship we've had in boys cross country, as you know, and 3 cheerleading championships just last week that we'll recognize in January. So a really good fall for our teams.
All in favor?
All right. Under business, item A, I recommend the board approve the amendment to the energy management contract with Schneider Electric.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve the amended contract for the energy management contract with Schneider Electric. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
And talk about that.
Yeah, I would. So we have been in contract with Schneider, it seems like for a long time, and we've just been waiting for opportunities to do projects, but this is a part of Schneider's contract is a comprehensive look at where we need to improve energy management through the retrofit of heating and air conditioning systems, roofing, water, savings through water use consumption, building envelope, lighting. All of this is a comprehensive package, and we have plans to get this done at some point, as we've been talking about the last couple of years, but funding has been something we've been waiting on. As I mentioned earlier to you, because of the work that Senator Wagner and legislature led for us, we're able to now do $3 million plus some additional project work through another supplemental fund called Advancement in Technology. So we take that money from the Lieutenant Governor and the additional supplemental dollars. And so about $4.75 million in total is going to be done of the large comprehensive work we want to do. It's a good bit more than that in total, but $4.75 million to be done with this project. We'll start this in the spring. We will put LED lighting on all of our campuses. We have 2 campuses now that have it, so the remaining campuses, interior and exterior LED lighting. We're going to do some mechanical controls, heating and air conditioner control work at Liberty Park Elementary School. And we're going to do some water consumption retrofitting, and that's sub-metering, I believe, at the high school to bring us some savings. I don't have this in front of me, Todd, so I'm going to ask you, do you remember what the savings comes off to be for us annually from this work we're going to do?
So all together from what we did at the high school previously, plus this additional work, it'll be over $600,000 a year that you'll be removing from your annual utility spend, which is a pretty big number. If you remember originally, we think we can save over $1 million a year in aggregate. So you guys are slowly getting to that, what we would consider high-end performance from an operational standpoint. But the lighting alone, just from energy, is going to make a big difference within the schools. Y'all are one of the few districts that are going to a flat panel technology, which is kind of the latest and greatest with lighting. So it's going to be a really, really nice environment for the kids and the teachers. And then the maintenance staff will greatly appreciate not having to go and replace bulbs all the time. There's going to be panels just like this. So it'll be really neat.
Exciting project. And we think we start in the spring, we think we go through the summer, tie largely with this one, should be ready to go in the fall.
All the lighting will be done through the summer. Maybe the last part of that controls at the elementary school will be finishing kind of nights and weekends. But
And the large part that is to come is in the way of new heating and air conditioning systems, new roofing. That's larger amounts of money, but we'll approach that when we're able to do it. This is a really good start for us. What I like about it is that it's, in terms of savings, it's low hanging fruit to do the light retrofits, a cleaner looking room, and also bring savings back to the district that we can invest where we'd like to and not on lights. All right.
All in favor?
All right. Item B, I recommend the board approve the contract with ClearGov.
Heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve the contract with ClearGov. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Yeah, board members, this is a online solution, if you will, to provide a more robust budgeting process for our district. And it has two real benefits. Primarily, the benefit for us is that, according to I believe, that internally, as we do our budgeting process, it gives us more accurate information to be able to move through the process, because there's a lot of shared information within our administrative team that we'll be able to build out our budget and do it more efficiently. The second benefit is that the online ability for people to go and see whatever they want to see with our budgeting expenditures and revenue, they can see that, and they can see it over a course of years and time. And I think that's beneficial as well, because I think without question, a Board of Education is the most transparent organization there is in the way of budgeting. That being said, it can be very cumbersome to look through a budget. So this gives a lot more of a robust platform for people to see that. So I would anticipate that we have some elements of current year budget, maybe by summer, but we'll be in full swing with it for the next budget cycle.
Any discussion? Any questions? All in favor?
Thank you. All right, item 8 is personnel. I recommend the board approve the personnel actions as submitted.
You've heard the superintendent's recommendation to approve these personnel items. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
And I want to express appreciation to principals who've had to make some pivots in the middle of the year and done a really nice job getting the very best for our kids. So I appreciate that very much. Good work. All right. Public Relations Director Extraordinaire, Whit McGee, is up next. We're going to give you a report on some branding updates to guidelines and some website improvements we've got. So it's got a presentation to walk you through and show you what we've got happening now and what is to come. Whit, thank you.
Thank you. Board members, it's been almost 8 years since the board received an update regarding the branding of the school system. And in that span of time, we have seen just tremendous growth of the Vestavia Hills Rebel brand. There is not a day that goes by that I don't walk into any school in our school system and see students proudly wearing Vestavia Hills apparel. It is everywhere, on signage, on hats, on merchandise. It's even on the scrubs of our students in the health science pathway. And those are highly sought after scrubs too, but you have to be in that program to get your own Vestavia Rebel scrubs. But because of the growth of this, we needed to take a look at how we protect the Vestavia Hills Rebel brand going forward. So I'm going to unpack that over the next few minutes. First of all, I think it's helpful just to have a refresher on what is a brand. When you see this logo, what immediately comes to mind for probably everybody in the room is that this is the logo of Starbucks. What comes to mind is that what they do, serve coffee, tea, and pastries. You might be thinking about your own experiences with Starbucks when you see this. What's your favorite drink order? What's your favorite location? What does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it smell like? All of what goes into how you, the consumer, experience Starbucks, that's their brand. This logo is a visual means of recalling what their brand is easily for you. Starbucks is a national brand, but so is Vestavia Hills City Schools. We are known throughout the country and followed for our excellence in academics, for our excellence on the field of play and in competition, for our excellence in philanthropy and community service and community support. Because we're a national brand, we have to think like a national brand in terms of how we position and protect ourselves. And we've done that over the last few years by obtaining registered trademarks on all of the logos and the brand collateral that you see on the screen here. So what that means is, in the eyes of the state of Alabama, the board owns all of these logos, as well as the word phrase Vestavia Rebels and Vestavia Hills Rebels. And because of that, the board gets to determine when, where, and how these things are used. Now, there is a limit to this, which is that this registration only extends to the borders of the state of Alabama. But as I just mentioned, we're a national brand. We have students getting ready to fly off to Rome to represent our school and our city. So we have to think a little bit broader than just the state of Alabama. So we recently obtained federal trademark registration with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office on the district logo of the school system. Some people refer to this as the institutional mark, but that's exemplified by the circle R symbol there in the bottom right. And we have pending federal trademark registration on the One Rebel logo. So this will provide us with a greater degree of trademark protection extending beyond the state of Alabama. This will be particularly useful to us if we have teams that are traveling for some reason, you're competing out of state. It can also be helpful to us from a recruiting standpoint when we are recruiting faculty and staff from colleges and universities that may be outside the state of Alabama. It's just a greater degree of visibility, a greater degree of brand protection. It's not enough to just have a trademark. You also have to have some procedures in place about how you're going to enforce the protection of that. And we've done that, as we do so many things in the school system, through community partnerships. Last year, you approved a licensing agreement for the school system. And what that licensing agreement does, in short, is that it ensures that any business or organization that wants to produce Vestavia Hills, Rebel apparel, merchandise, anything like that, enters into a license agreement with us before they do so. It ensures that those businesses are on mission with us, that they're partnering with us in their work. It ensures that they produce high quality items that are reflective of the mission, the values, and the excellence of the school system. And it also provides a mechanism for them to give back, to show their support to the school system by giving a portion of their revenue. So since that time in 2022 that we came out with a licensing agreement, we now have 11 officially licensed vendors, all of whom are giving at least 10% of their sales of trademarked revenue. That's anything that you saw on that screen that had a trademark logo on it. Any of that that's sold to the general public, 10% of that or more comes back to the school system. And I'll explain what I mean in just a moment with that. And just inside this calendar year, more than $13,000 has been given back to the school system or to our partnering groups through those licensing agreements. Almost every penny of that $13,500 has gone to the PTO. So the PTO has a license agreement that enables them to work with other officially licensed vendors for things like their spirit shops and fundraisers. And so then they get the revenue that comes from those sales. And this is a great opportunity to spotlight what I think is one of the success stories of the licensing agreement, and that is our relationship with Bandwagon. Bandwagon approached us early after the licensing agreement and said, what do we have to do to get licensed? We want to be one of the first people to have that status as an officially licensed partner of the school system. So they got licensed. They are a local business. They know our school system well. They know our mission. They value our mission. They want to partner with us in that. They're embedded in the community. Since signing that license agreement, they opened a brick and mortar location in Cahaba Heights. And so that provides an opportunity now to for them to give back, for tax dollars to stay here in the community by shopping local with them. And the PTO has formed a partnership with them so that the bandwagon now operates the spirit shops at all of the schools. So the pop-up shops that you've seen, the online stuff that you've seen from them, they operate all of that. It's very much streamlined what they do. They have really high quality stuff that they're putting together. So we see this as a win for everybody in the community. Any questions about that before I move on about licensing and trademarking? Just want to make sure. Good. So all of what I've just shared with you has been summarized in a board policy which you adopted back in October, and it's shown there on the screen. And this is just a simple way of taking everything that we've talked about regarding the protection of the branding of the school system, protection of our trademarks, and puts it into one nice, concise sentence. And I just wanted to take a moment to thank you for adopting that policy. We have had for many years board policies that speak to the use of physical board property, facilities, grounds, equipment, but we did not yet have a policy that explicitly spoke to the use of the intellectual property of the board, namely the logos, the names of the schools, the brand collateral. And so now we have that on the book. So thank you for adopting that policy. We have summarized all of this in a new and updated brand guide that is out in our schools. All of our administrators have a copy of this. The athletic department has it. We worked in conjunction with the athletic department to make sure that it was laid out exactly as they need it for their purposes as well. This provides clear guidance to all of our schools and to our licensees on how to use our brand assets correctly. So when you become a licensee to the school system, you get a copy of this brand guide that's the procedure around our branding, and you also get all the high quality logos and files from every school and from the system as a whole, so that you can produce just about anything that you can imagine that's Vestavia Rebels apparel, merchandise, signage, anything else that you can dream up. This updated version of the brand guide also provides our schools with some clear guidance on school specific designs. So over the last few years, you've heard a lot of updates about character work, core values in the schools. And a lot of the schools have created unique designs that is like an emblem to capture all of their core values, so that when you see that, you recall what the core values of the schools are. So this version of the brand guide gives the schools some guidelines on how to make sure that those designs align with the overall branding of the school system as a whole. Well, going back to something I mentioned at the beginning, that how you as a consumer experience a business or organization being their brand, naturally our website would fall into that. And if you look at some of this data from just the past 12 months, it's clear that our website is a destination for many people. Over 1 million page views just this year from 192,000 unique users. And I should point out, I know we had an election back in May, so you might think that that would drive more traffic to the website. But if you look at the last several years, all of those years have similar website traffic data. One thing that I think is notable is that nearly 2 out of every 3 people who visit our website are on a mobile device. And so what I kind of read into these numbers is that this is a place that a lot of our parents, families, community members are coming that need quick access to information on the go. And if you look at the data around our most visited web pages, it reflects that. The top 3 most visited pages are all calendars. People want to know what's coming up, and so they're trying to find that. Staff directory, people need to have contact information for our faculty and staff easily. People are looking for job information. They want to be a part of our team here, see what kind of job openings we have. Bell schedules, student resources, course selection information, all in the top 10. But here's the challenge. You see the screenshots there of our current website, vhcs.us. And all of the school pages have this very large cover photo of their campus or whatever they put in that placeholder, that image has the effect of pushing the content off to the sides and the corners of the page. Or in some cases, you have to scroll before you even get to this content that you need. And particularly if you're on a mobile device, you see the screenshot there from the iPhone, there's nothing to click on there. You cannot get to anything without having to first scroll or click or take some kind of action on your device to get to the information that you need to get to. So we have been working for several years with a company called Blackboard. They are well known in the K-12 and collegiate education space for websites. They were recently acquired by another company called Finalsite that's been doing school websites for many years. And so Finalsite is in the process of transitioning all of their Blackboard customers over to the Finalsite platform. And so in the coming months, we are going to have a new website design. I'm going to give you a demo of the template now. This is, again, just a demo version of the website. This is what it's going to look like. So right off the bat, something that is a little bit more refreshed about this design is that the content, like links, are moved closer to the center of the website, more in line with where your eye would naturally fall when you get to this web page. So we want that information to be much more obvious, much more front and center. Right here below this cover image, which right now is drone videos of the schools, you have some of the most visited web pages in the school system right there. And all of the schools are going to have these links right there so that you can quickly get to your school's calendar, to their staff directory, to what's on the menu today, to bell schedules, to job information, tip line, all of that's going to be right there. You have contact information up here. The schools can customize this with additional links that they may need. You should be able to get to over 90% of the web pages on our website from right here without having to scroll or do anything further. And so we hope that that is helpful to people in terms of just ease of use. As you scroll down on every school site, you're going to see a place where you see our mission, and on the school sites, you're going to see their core values. They've done such great work in this. We think this is really important for people to see right up front because everything that we do in the school system drives back to this mission. You'll be able to unpack more about strategic plan or core values and what that means across the school system. And I should mention that the ClearGov software that you approved this evening will integrate with our website here. So once that is launched, if you want to see how our budget aligns with the mission and the strategic plan of the school system, you'll be able to see that information very quickly and get to it from the homepage. As you scroll down further, news and events, really excited about the fact that we will now have upcoming events on each school's calendar right there on the homepage. So you don't have to dig for this. It's going to be right there. Whatever is coming up next is going to be easy for people to find. And then finally, information from all of the schools about just who we are. How many students do we have? How many faculty and staff on our team? Other accomplishments of the schools like the education report card score that came out recently, scholarship officer students. We could add anything to that list, but it just gives people a better sense of who we really are so that we can reach that goal of shared community understanding. So in terms of when this website will launch, right now, tentatively spring. There's a few things that we want to make sure are exactly right before we go live with this. One is accessibility. As I mentioned to you earlier, nearly 2 out of every 3 people on our website are on a mobile device. So it looks pretty good on a 65-inch display in the boardroom, but does the website look and function just as well on a 6-inch display? That's going to be really critical to our website launch. The other thing is consistency. One of the things that I've heard from some of the parent groups that I've talked with and others is I want to make sure that information on one school's site is in the same location on another school. So maybe I've got a child at West and then a child at Fazitz. Are those forms generally in the same location on both schools' websites? Are there some other efficiencies that we can do to make sure that things are easy to find and folks are not having to dig for content? We're going to spend some extra time getting that right. And then finally, just timing. We want to make sure that when we actually flip the switch, that it's at a point in time when it will have relatively low traffic on the website. It's an inconsequential time, so we're not like the week before finals. We want to do this at a point in time when people have the ability to get accustomed to it. We can get the kinks worked out, and there's not anything that's really consequential in making that change. So looking forward to having more to share with you on that in the spring. Questions?
Looks really good.
It looks really good. Right?
Good. Thank you so much. I'm really thankful for the parents and community members who shared some thoughts on how to just take this to the next level and make sure that we're serving the community as best we can.
I appreciate the intentionality on this. Well done. Well done. All right. I want to point a privilege, if I can, during personnel actions. We approved the new director of technology, Brendan Lovelady, who's behind Todd right back there. Brendan, so everybody sees Brendan. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, Brendan's been with us for a few years, serving in IT specialist role. He's been part of the technology world in schools for over 10 years. And so has worked himself really hard in learning the craft, learning what has to do, and has actually been mentored, I think, by one of the very best in Keith, and so certainly ready to go. He's got, I told him, I said, I listen to people who really know their craft well, and Keith was one of those. And a neighboring school system who had just, I think, a phenomenal technology director for years also sings Brendan's praises. So I said, you kind of won me over when I just hear from people that I respect and listen to what they have to say. So he'll do a great job. Recently married. Has a life outside of school with that and does some work in his church, but he's excellent and a brilliant mind and he's going to do great work for us.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right, next is public comment.
Public comment.
All right, give me just a
Whenever
minute.
y'all ready.
Let me give you the rules. Give me just a second.
I'm gonna waive the rule.
The
This
individual
gentleman over here.
desiring to speak
Yes.
shall stand and give his or her name and their address. The presentation should be as brief as possible, and in no event shall such address exceed 3 minutes. The speaker may make statements about their particular concern with school operations and programs. In public session, however, the board will not hear personnel complaints against particular school personnel or against any person connected with the school system. Other means are provided whereby the board may consider and dispose of legitimate complaints involving individuals and employees within the school system.
Thank you.
It is your
Madam
turn.
President. Patrick Boone, 2415 Vestavia Drive, and I've got 3 shorties.
Mhm.
First, I wish that my dear friend Jabbo was still here to hear what I have to say about it. Our city is 73 years old. Our school system is 53 years old. If you had to single out one person that's contributed the most to us, all of us, it'd be Jabbo Wagner. Jabbo Wagner seeks no reward. He seeks no recognition. He does it because he's a statesman and a patriot. He's not a politician. He's just a wonderful human being. And I hope that all of us have seen the tribute to Jabbo at City Hall to honor him. It is absolutely fabulous. Have y'all all seen it?
Yes.
Anyway, as wonderful as that is, it could never adequately say thank you enough to Jabbo for what he's done for us. So that's enough about Jabbo. The second thing is Patrick Boone wants to thank all of you for allowing me to be on this wonderful team. And last is Merry Christmas, and I hope everybody has a Happy New Year.
Great send off.
Thank you.
Thanks for being on our team.
Absolutely.
We love you. All right.
I'm not worthy.
Well, that is it. I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas. The meeting is adjourned.